Big shocker. Oakland, California defunded its police, went down all these progressive, ideological, just dead ends. And then who knew? Who could have predicted that in 2025, Oakland's understaffed by hundreds of police officers? Huh. Who would have seen that one coming? Let's get into it. Here we go. I'm going to take you back to 2021. This was the hotbed of the fentanyl Floyd era. This was when defund the police was all the rage. Everybody was hopping on board with wild abandon, not recognizing that there are play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? And so many of these big progressive blue cities have ended up in the exact same position. Seattle, Portland, hundreds and hundreds of police officers short of being able to provide adequate public safety. This is the end result of that. It's like, that's weird. How did we get here? How did we? This video shows you how we got there at this point in time, and also reflects on today, which is, why doesn't anybody want to be a cop? Oh, yeah. Remember? Here we go.
California, the Oakland police chief is warning of
2021
consequences after the city council voted to cut nearly $18 million from the department's budget.
We have Team Fox coverage. Carl Rose.
Smart, guys. Smart.
First, let's go to 𝗪𝗧𝗔𝗬𝗧𝗔𝗕👏. He's following the Oakland story from our West Coast newsroom. Good morning.
Hey, Dana. The numbers tell the story. Homicides up 90%. Carjackings 80%, shootings 70%. The police chief said crime, in his words, is out of control in Oakland. He warned the city council now is not the time to strip $17 million from the police budget.
But when city council members, the majority of them that voted to defund this police department,
progressive progress,
$7 million that was reduced from the police department's budget, will have an impact.
So this is Oakland last year. Residents screaming to defund the police. Well, since then, according to the FBI, Oakland has become the fifth most...
Wait, aren't these all the same people that are, pro-Palestine? Free Palestine? I think they are. Yeah, what happened? All the same people. A lot of white people that are, Black Lives Matter signs. That's what virtue signaling. That's all that this is. And they're paid. We know now that they're paid by NGOs. Your taxpayer dollar goes to pay these folks. If you're happy about that, well, we're probably not on the same team.
Most dangerous city in the U.S. Yet the council wants more social workers and violence prevention programs. The chief says that's a recipe for rising crime. Forced to cut 50 officers, response times to 911 calls will get slower. He's already losing 5 cops a month to retirement, and this cut means losing 2 new police academy classes. That means less public safety.
I think it's easy to sit in a room and have a discussion about what public safety looks like and your ideas about what could make Oakland better. It's much different when you come out into the community and meet on the ground with those families.
Yep. Shootings,
70%
stabbings,
quality of life in San Francisco
drugs
declined and pointed to crime and homelessness. Car breakings there up 753%, theft up 75% compared to 2019. Now, here's the irony.
Okay, remember, keep some of those stats in your head, right? All right, they're up how much? Okay, just remember that. A lot.
Just after the police chief spoke to the city council, there were 2 armed robberies that held up a television news crew that was interviewing the director of violence prevention.
I mean, it's not funny, but what else do? You just laugh, right? You just literally laugh. Now, here's one of the more recent examples of how the complete lack of public safety in Oakland is rearing its ugly head on ongoing storylines, right? We've got In-N-Out Burger is closing its only Oakland location due to ongoing issues with crime. They came right out and stated that. We can't operate. It's too dangerous. It's too whacked out dangerous to be able to keep this store open. And it was the only one, and it was making money. I covered it right here. In-N-Out Heiress reveals Oakland store closed due to extreme safety risks, right? And then the mayor of Oakland, 𝗪𝗓𝗠, was recalled because she was so progressive that she did such a bad job, so many decisions. And she and her boyfriend, FBI raid, all kinds of stuff. Oakland's now got a special election, and a moderate is looking like they could possibly take that office. I'm not sure. But it's time. Oakland, you guys need to get your act together, need to pull your head out of your ass and realize that a bunch of progressives are not going to get you where you need to go. They're going to get you where you are, which is you are hundreds of officers shy of what you need for public safety. Let's read the story. Report commissioned by the Oakland City Council says police staffing is 199 officers below recommended baseline. We hear numbers like that in Seattle all the time, but we're more like 600 and 199 officers. Yeah, they could probably use 400 and they would be in better shape. Clearly, more officers, better. More social workers in the right environment. They're okay. But they're not going to replace and they're not going to do the job of a police officer. And that all goes to the mindset of why people don't want to be police officers. And you'll see so many politicians and so many officials say, oh, we just need to work on the budget. The budget doesn't matter because people aren't wanting to become a member of law enforcement rapidly enough to offset those who are retiring. The report determined that Oakland Police Department could use additional officers to manage its workload. Yep, okay. And this is not specific just to Oakland. This is every major law enforcement, particularly in departments where they defunded the police, where they're surrounded by progressive ideology that says cops are bad. ACAP. Right? How many times have you seen ACAP, which is symbolism from the far left that indicates all cops are bastards. So if you believe that in your community, why would somebody sign up to be a law enforcement official? Why would they want to be a cop? Why would they want to be affiliated with the police department in general? Who do you work for? Oakland Police Department. Ooh, yeah, okay. Anyway, gotta go. Got stuff to do. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be affiliated with anybody in law enforcement. Same goes here in Seattle. Oh, yeah. What they'll do is they'll talk to your face. Oh, I think that's great. That's excellent. And behind their back, they're like, oh, yeah. I mean, we need to defund the police. This is just atrocious. The number of black people being murdered by police officers is just off the chart. And it's that racial rhetoric that gets everybody going. It's not really based on reality. Oakland Police Department currently has 678 sworn peace officers. That is like wildly low for a city the size of Oakland. The study compared Oakland to 7 similar sized cities, including Sacramento, Fresno. Oh, Fresno's in there. Long Beach, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Baltimore. Oh yeah, heavy hitter. I'm talking crime. We're talking straight crime here. These are crime capitals within the United States. Cleveland and New Orleans. Oh, New Orleans has some murder numbers that just don't disappoint. Study found that Oakland had 11.1 violent crimes per sworn officer, the highest rate in the group. When you've got a group with Fresno, Albuquerque, Baltimore, Cleveland, and New Orleans, and you're number one, you are not winning. No. You are coming up behind, and you're like, somebody's got to be the bracket end, right? The report also said Oakland's Investigations Bureau has no centralized case management system. That's not a shocker. And little supervisor oversight, with some investigators self-assigning cases. I'll take a capital murder there. I'll take that one. I'll take a rape case there, and give me a little financial audit case. Now, I don't know what kind of self-assigning they're doing, but apparently that's not what you do. But it's what you do. I mean, you do a little self-assigning when your supervisor is actually working on other cases as well. So, The Oakland Police Officers Association president says the report's baseline recommendation is too low. He says it does not accurately account for the amount of time required by officers to fill out the paperwork required and the workload facing officers as they try to keep up with the number of calls and investigations. There are so many more ridiculous things that cops have to do now that are just absolutely absurd. It's that layer of, oh, let's have an oversight committee here. Let's have a congressional oversight on this. And let's have a federal oversight on this. And nope, you can't use that. You can't use that to deter the wild riots, the mostly peaceful riots. I mean, you can't do that either. Oh, no, sir. Can't do that. There's so many restrictions on what the police can and can't do. And if they violate those restrictions, they're going to personally sometimes get sued. They're opened up to lawsuits. So why would you want to take a job where you could get killed, get sued, get fired on the spot for simply doing your job? Why would you want to do that? They don't, and they're not. And you're seeing the number of folks leaving the industry relative to the new ones coming in. That's what everybody keeps talking about. We just had some more funding. Nah, if you just had some more bodies that actually wanted to be a cop, now we're talking. But that's not the case because you have demonized policing, period. And that reflects in your public safety. You look, for example, at the robbery section, we have 6 investigators when they recommend 25. You look at our homicide section where we have 15 investigators and they recommend 18. But even that 18, that's not the number that we should be looking at. We should look at 25 or close to 30 with the number of homicide cases we have. Yeah, it's not based on population there, but how many of your population are being murdered by each other? Oh, let's see. So that's double. Okay, so then you arguably need double the cops specializing in murder cases. That makes sense. Wen said the city council needs to do something immediately. All of these city councils always say we need to do something immediately because public safety is at risk. Public safety has been at risk since you had the absolutely mind-numbing idea of defunding the police. How did you think that would work out? How did that work out? Not good, right? Just boop. We don't have any academy in place at the moment for folks who are leaving the agency or retiring from the agency, Wen said. That will probably take you, say, past 2030 to reach that number based on the attrition rate. 2030. I don't see any of these departments really loading up on numbers. I haven't seen any numbers where I'm like, oh, good. Okay. All right. Maybe that tide has turned. I'm just not seeing it. We have 105 officers that can retire this year. There you go. And we need police academy to be able to prepare. You got a whole bunch of cops leaving. Where was it? Oh, it was New York City. I had people commenting. I ran a video on the number of police officers that were looking into retirement. And, they got like 36,000 police officers in New York City because it's based on the population. You got a massive population base. And so they've got tons and tons and tons of police officers. But they set up one meeting, and I think it was 800 police officers signed up to, start thinking about their retirement. You sign up for a meeting, you go to the meeting, you get your thing of paperwork, and then you start working on that paperwork. And then they had so many officers for that first meeting, they had to do a second meeting because so many cops don't want to do it. And I don't blame them. You've demonized policing. You've limited their ability to actually do their job. You need to let the police officers do their job. And sometimes that means giving a beat down to people. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. You're going to have to control some environments with violence. You just are. You don't have any choice. You're looking at trying to save one individual, and yet you're putting all the rest of the folks in society in their environment at risk. I'm a hard no-go. Sometimes you're going to have to take people out, and it's just going to have to happen. That's just the way this works, because otherwise, everybody suffers, meaning you don't have enough cops, and that's what you're looking at now. Oh, if we just had some more social workers. No, F the social workers. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but as a solution to this problem, no, that's not going to work. Well, we're just going to have the social workers come out to, the The meme is the 6'4" guy who's 265 pounds, body fat 9%, who's whacked out of his mind on meth. He's got a human feces, probably his own. He rubbed all over him. He's naked. He's got a big boner because of the meth. And now you want a social worker to contain him? And he's waving a knife. He's waving a knife around. Yeah, have the 50-year-old social worker go out there and, here's what I think you should do. Let's have you envision a safer, more calm world where we can evaluate what might be the underlying problems that you're experiencing. Meanwhile, the guy's just, it doesn't make any sense, does it? But in somebody's whacked out progressive mind, it doesn't. So what are crime rates looking like in Oakland? This is what I want you to remember. Big picture view. Though Oakland has a tough reputation when it comes to crime, yep, they do, and continues to. In-N-Out Burger leaving. It's not just In-N-Out Burger. It's a slew of other businesses that have left. But violent crime rates, particularly homicide, have dropped in the city in recent years. Well, what have they dropped from? They were here, and now they've dropped down to here. And they're still above other heavy hitter cities with some big murder rates. Still above that, right? Particularly homicide, which have dropped in the recent years. So you've dropped, yes, but that's because you had a few years there where those rates just spiked to the moon because of defund the police, Black Lives Matter, and all that stuff, right? It went the opposite way. It didn't save any Black lives. It didn't save anybody. It created more criminal activity because everybody knew Cops basically have their hands tied behind their back just doing their job. They're not going to look into this. They're not going to try and prevent any of this stuff. Hands off, just let things go, because that's what the people want. Yeah. So now the people get this kind of nonsense. And they're like, but things are working out better. All right. Why is In-N-Out Burger leaving? I don't know, Sean. That's a narrative you're going to have to work on. Oakland's final homicide count ended in 86 people killed in 2024. According to East Bay Times, there are 126 homicides in Oakland in 2023. Yeah, 120, and that's 2 years after that first video we saw. 126 homicides for a population of Oakland. That's a lot of murdering. That's some real and right? I mean, you got a lot of stabbing, you got a lot of shooting. So to say that crime rates have dropped in the city in recent years, it's all relative. It's all relative. Oakland is not crime-free by any means at all whatsoever. We read about it all the time. We read about it mainly from the standpoint of how it's affecting businesses, because that's my background. I run a couple of real estate businesses. I look at business as an indicator of not just the economy, but of society. All right, we're going to allow a bunch of businesses in here. Ooh, that's not looking good. Ooh, they're getting robbed. They're all shutting down. Oh, what are we going to do to make this better? I know. Let's install a 45-foot statue that was built for Burning Man 10 years ago. 45-foot naked woman statue with 55,000 welds on it to create this metal statue of the naked woman. Let's put that in front of the Ferry Building in San Francisco. That'll make this environment more warming and accessible to people. That'll make businesses move in. That'll make big companies move their employees in. That'll make restaurant owners, big statue, naked woman. I like that. That's great. Let's open up a restaurant here. This is going to be great. Everything's going to be great. It's going to be better. That is literally one of my storylines this week. Naked statue, woman, 45 feet tall, very tall, anatomically just tall. Yeah. There's that, right? Instead of, hey, don't defund the police. Black Lives Matter thing. Well, yeah, let's actually reflect on what that should mean and what that should look like to help Black people. Let's look at that. Okay. Yeah. And all this other stuff. Instead, we ended up with this, and this is what we're dealing with. And here we are. This is a storyline that will continue for many, many years moving forward, because essentially in these big progressive cities, They don't want to support their police department. They know they need to, but they don't want to because they hate cops. They hate cops. Yeah, you get what you pay for. All right. We'll see how the new election goes in Oakland. I don't have any hope, but, all of this is in motion. So we'll see. Thanks so much for being here. That's it for me on this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.